Hello, my name is Heather Gorton. I'm one of the Deputy Principal Educational Psychologists working for City of Edinburgh Council. I'm really pleased to be able to speak to you today about a suite of training that we developed to support children's return to school in August 2020. This work was instigated by a request from one of our early years quality improvement and education officers and was created in close collaboration with our colleagues in the health and wellbeing team. The request was made in late April. We worked on developing the materials in May and delivered the training in June. The colleague first requesting the training was concerned about staff well-being, noting that some staff were presenting as very anxious about the return and not fully engaging with opportunities created to discuss this. This was set within a general context of an unprecedented situation where all our children would need to transition back into our learning establishments after an extended period of absence. We knew from our conversations with parents and schools that they were also experiencing anxiety about this change. Psychological theory and approaches offered us tools to address this, and these are described in this slide. Due to the current pandemic situation, the training had to be delivered online. At this stage, we only had some limited experience of doing this ourselves, and staff were also getting to grips with online ICT systems. We used the Teams platform and wanted to ensure the training materials were visual and engaging, and that we found ways to allow the staff to interact with the session, even though it was being offered online. We also wanted somewhere where we could continuously share new resources, keep everyone updated, and allow colleagues to continue the conversation of how they could manage the return together. We therefore created a Teams site, both to deliver the training and store resources. In the first instance, we developed training about supporting staff well-being and then about helping them to support children's well-being. This was rolled out on a tight timeline as we wanted to ensure all staff could access it prior to the summer holidays. Then we wanted to offer something for parents to access over the summer and in the lead up to return to school. It was not practical or possible to offer this online, so instead we created a narrator PowerPoint and shared the link for this through our various stakeholder networks. As we developed this training, the Rainbow acronym emerged as a useful structure for our presentation. It was both a powerful image from the pandemic, but also fitted well with the framework of key areas we wanted to cover. The training covered skills and strategies in each of the Rainbow sections. We also included reflective questions within each section and encouraged staff to take these away and use them as a starter point for reflection and discussion about supporting children's return to learning establishments within their own settings. Here is the first set of questions for the reflecting and reconnecting section of the Rainbow. We encourage staff to both reflect on their own experiences, but also to think about what pupils may have been feeling and experiencing. We included parts where staff could interact by sharing ideas in the chat or using an interactive whiteboard. Working in this way allowed everyone to share great ideas with each other. We explained that acknowledging experiences is important for children and young people of all ages. It gives them an opportunity to tell their stories, helps them try to understand their emotions, and make sense of the events that occur in their lives. We have all experienced the same pandemic, but we all have our own individual stories to share. Research highlights that children need to understand what is happening, be reassured about their safety, and have opportunities to ask questions. In Edinburgh, we have developed a wide range of resources for supporting children and young people in educational establishments. These include circle documents and accessible wellbeing guides. In this section of the Rainbow, we wanted to encourage staff to consider what they had used previously and how they could adapt this to the current situation. When we think here of a nurturing environment, we mean a classroom and school environment that has relationships at its fore. Lots of our schools have had colleagues attend and use City of Edinburgh Council nurture training, where they looked at different principles of a nurture intervention and a whole school nurturing approach. We knew that all of these principles were relevant to the return to educational establishments and the immediate session ahead. We again supported staff to consider this and how they could apply it in August. Building resilience is one of the key principles that we promote in our educational establishments. In this section, we again encourage encouraged staff to consider what they knew already and what they could do in August to build resilience further. In this observing section, we advise staff to adopt a watchful waiting strategy with children and young people. We suggested that they should avoid assumptions. Everyone's experience will be different. Children will have had a range of experiences, positive, mixed, and difficult. We advise them to observe and respond empathetically. We suggested that some children will settle in okay and be eager to pursue new learning. Some may go back to an earlier developmental stage, for example, showing increased separation anxiety. Others may seem to settle initially okay, but then show distressed behaviours later. Watchful waiting, we suggested, will help staff manage this. Finally, we explained to staff that adapting and adjusting will need to be an ongoing process for all of us. We described the return from lockdown to be more of a marathon than a sprint. We emphasised the need to keep applying all of the strategies we had discussed and adjusting things to meet children and young people's needs. When we delivered this training in June 2020, we did not then know that there would be a second lockdown in the winter. But looking back now, this idea of the need to keep on weathering the storm seems even more relevant. This slide gives some statistics that we collected from the online training sessions. We were able to calculate numbers attending from the team's site. We invited comments in the chat at the end about staff's view of the training, and we also posted a Microsoft form to get some quantitative data about its usefulness. We also shared that the training had been happening on Twitter and received some more feedback here. Given the tight timescale and the challenge of working using ICT, we were really pleased about the number of staff we were able to reach. In addition to these online sessions, educational psychologists had access to the training resources and were able to offer bespoke training to their linked schools. We also made a narrated PowerPoint that was shared on our Cecil electronic training platform for staff unable to attend the online sessions. This slide shows a small sample of the range of positive comments that we received in the chat at the end of the session. We posted the rainbow visual of the training on our Twitter site. This slide shows a sample of some of the responses we received there. That is the end of this presentation. Thank you for listening to it and your interest in the work that we have done in Edinburgh.